up, nerds? Welcome to episode 14 of The Bandwagon Fan. This is the show where we talk about a lot of things. We talk about World War III. We talk about my marital life, but specifically we talk about pop culture. I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
Every time.
We'll never get the intro right. Let's just...
Oh, we got one more.
Kate.
Yeah, we did it.
Names
My
are
goodness.
everybody.
Oh my goodness, guys! It's been a rough week. I'm going to do my quality check on everybody. How is everyone?
Very tired.
Alex?
I'm gonna say the same times 1,000.
Kate?
The same times 2,000, but minus stress. So tired, but stress was there. Stress now gone, but tired stays.
Now she's just blessed.
I feel guilty. I've been rejuvenated. I've had like the last 2 days off, so I feel great, guys. I'm like,
that's amazing.
I'm wide
Good
awake. I'm ready to go, dude.
Are you
ready
unstressed, blessed, and ready to party?
I'm unstressed, blessed, and not pressed, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
All I know is if you want to challenge yourself, drive a 20-foot U-Haul through Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, whatever, New York City. Do it. It is a good test of driving skills, test of patience, test of people. Yep. I don't know. Is there a more stressful place to drive through in the United States than New York?
Probably not in the US at least.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Unless the 405 in LA is worse, but that's about it.
When I go back to LA, I'm gonna kiss the 405 and thank it for how glorious it is.
Kiss
That's
your
crazy.
Local bus, kiss your subway, kiss all your public transit.
Exactly.
Yes, please spread that COVID. All right, guys. So to start off in our news, we are kicking it off with some current events. Specifically, I wanted to bring up EA had their sales call, and I just thought this was funny. If you guys don't know, EA, Electronic Arts, they make a lot of video games, and they do that very poorly as of late. Specifically with Battlefield 2042. I don't even know, what is it? 2142?
I think it's 2042.
33 or something. I don't know.
New future.
What I do know is that it's cheeks. The game is pretty bad. I played the beta. I played the game. Like EA gives you like 10 hours free play, and it was just a hot mess. It was like I couldn't even. It was as if somebody who's never played Battlefield before just got like broad strokes of how to play the game and how the game goes, and they're like, okay, we'll build the game from here. It doesn't resemble anything anyone else has ever played. And it turns out that everyone kind of agrees that it's cheap. Its player count went from like 100,000 on Steam to like almost 2,000 daily, which is insane. There are more people playing Battlefield 4 right now, which came out like 9 years ago than this current Battlefield game, which is even crazier. But
wait, that's pretty uncommon too, right? Like most people don't skyrocket.
Really uncommon. Yes, that's really, really uncommon. So in a we always talk about that video games now, it's all directed by directors and these your games are being directed by what these people feel like their investors need to make their money and stuff like that. Investors want answers as to why EA's last quarter was bad. And do you want to know what EA's response was?
I would love to hear what EA's response is.
EA told a group of grown men and women that their game was bad because Halo was too polished.
Oof. That's
now
sure taking responsibility for your product.
Yeah, I don't know how that correlates. I don't know how somebody else's business. I feel like when I was a kid, my mom used to get mad at me when I did something stupid. And I'm like, well, my friend did it. And she's like, well, you know what? Your last name is Soy. That's a different household. That's a different problem. You got to worry about your problems here. And I kind of feel like EA needs to do the same. They got to take accountability. You know what I mean? You take accountability for you making a bad game. Don't be blaming other game studios for making a better game, detracting from your sales. Like that literally makes no sense. That actually makes sense. Halo was free. There was no cost.
Multiplayer was free.
Multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Correct. But it's free. Like there's no cost to it. So I don't understand what you're comparing to, it's bizarre.
That's
It
very
is bizarre.
interesting. Well, because like
It is so
Battlefield,
weird.
the draw of Battlefield in most games these days is the online multiplayer,
Exactly.
especially for Battlefield. It wasn't until very recently. It was a Battlefield 4 when they actually invested in a campaign.
Well, Battlefield, there's Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Yeah, had good campaigns in it.
Because it went 4, 1, and then 5,
like
I
10
think.
years ago.
Yes.
I'm a little out of date on Battlefield.
Oh, don't worry about it because doesn't even matter. No one's playing
Bad
the new
Company
one.
2 whenever that came out.
That was probably the last great one. That was probably the last.
Battlefield 1 was great. World War 1, I loved that one.
It's fine. It's fine. The campaign was cool. I didn't. It's not for me. It's not my aesthetic. You know, I always joke around that like I have a hard time like playing video games where I'm like, yeah, you know, the black people here were just used for fodder in this war, so I'm not really sure if I want to like, you know, get on board with that, but whatever. No, but in all seriousness, like I just didn't really care too much about Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, so it's whatever. They're not bad, they're not great, but they're definitely not as bad as this current Battlefield game. So to continue on the world of weirdness.
You know what I'm probably not going to be on board for?
What?
Kanye West, Donda 2.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah, so Kanye West, he's making a sequel to his album released last year, Donda. But in pure Kanye fashion, has to do it in the most obscure way possible. And so like there is this device that Kanye has. Have you guys heard of it? It's called a stem player.
I have no idea what that is.
Like a CD player, right? He wants everyone to buy a special device.
So the stem player is this Bluetooth device. It kind of works like you connect it to. I think you can just connect it to the internet. I don't know exactly how it functions in terms of connectivity. I just know it itself has Bluetooth. But basically, there's like a site. It has a bunch of music on there, and you download the music to the stem player. What it does, for those who don't know, when you download or listen to any music, it's usually in some type of like WAV file or an MP3. These are compressed audio files. So like when you're in the studio, if like you're listening to, I don't know, Alex, name a band. Like name like a really popular band.
Blink-182.
Blink-182. Okay, so Blink-182, they have like what, a guitar player, they got like a bass player, they got a singer. When they're recording in the studio, when they're recording in the studio on the big old mixers, they can control each of the individual feeds from like the microphones and stuff like that, and it's put in a big file called like, I think it's like a .FLAC or something like that. Long story short, those are the type of files that you're putting into the stem player. So what it allows you to do is that it allows you to like literally listen to a song playing any combination of the individual components of the song. So say you're listening to a Michael Jackson song, for example, you can isolate Michael Jackson's audio and just hear his audio without having to use any other programs to do that.
Really cool.
Exactly. The idea is, it's an incredibly cool idea. The idea is essentially to kind of just give people creativity with already made music. You know what I mean? And try to see
with the first Donda though. I thought he
He released it. He released it before Donda, the first album was released. However, he has not made his music exclusive to the stem player until now. So that's essentially what's really happening now. It is unique. Mm-hmm.
How much is a stem player, or is it only Kanye have a stem player? It is
$200. It looks like, from what I can understand and tell, it looks like it's a completely proproprietary thing.
Did he invent this thing?
No, he it's $200. It's insane. But I think he paired with some designer or engineer or something like that to make this thing. It's a cool idea. I think this would be better suited as like a $10 or $15 app, in my personal opinion, than a physical device that I need to.
Because it's Kanye,
walk around
and it's exclusive. Yes. It's perfect.
Yes, exactly.
For making money.
It's perfect. It's perfect for Kanye and his making money needs. He's claiming that he's doing this because he only receives 12% of a cut from proceeds from like Apple and Spotify and stuff like that.
Which seems honestly fairly accurate.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, jargon. Look, I love Kanye, but this is just another list of the crazy things he's done. So it just becomes all the same at one point, you know?
I would get one of these stem players I would buy one of Kanye's as long as I could put other music on there. It doesn't.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. Yeah, you can. They're trying to make this an actual streaming platform. So but that's what makes Kanye's comments a little strange. You know,
according to Yahoo, he wants to redesign the world and music with his stem player.
That's a very Kanye sentence.
Yeah, that's
a very Kanye. That's
honestly,
a very Kanye thing to say.
The idea does sound cool. I'll hold off until like 10 years from now when they have like the third or fifth generation and it's actually affordable.
Yeah, it's not affordable right now. It's totally a niche thing. I'm not going to listen to it. Like, what am I going to do? Take this thing with me to my car so I can listen? Like, it's ridiculous. So
it is, but I can see it kind of cool, especially if you're playing like new releases. For instance, the new release Kate and I played this week was the new Avril Lavigne album. Did either of you know that she was still making music?
I had no idea.
She was alive.
I knew she was alive, but I thought she's left music behind her, so that's kind of cool.
Good for her. Yeah, good for her, man.
Yeah.
She made like a singer-songwriter type record a couple of years ago that did not take off. This is full on classic Avril Lavigne.
This is back to like the hey you I wish it was your girlfriend.
Hey you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't like your girlfriend. Hey you.
Yes,
I think you need a new one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, she's angsty. She looks the same. She sounds the same.
Kind of sounds as if she's trying to copy Olivia Rodrigo and have like a I'm an angsty teenager punk album, which that was her first album ever, but that was back in like 1999.
Oh, so is it cringe? Wow. Is it good?
It's a little cringe when you think too hard about the fact that she's nearing 40 and she sounds like she's 16.
Well, I believe her first record was actually 2002. So if that's true, then it's a 20-year anniversary of her staying punk.
So in other words, she might be a little bit too old for this demo.
I heard it's a #1 record, so like clearly people like it. Yeah, we were like cleaning and moving to this week and like it is 2002.
Wow. For her first album was 2002, and this is 20. Yeah, this is 20 years later.
Yeah,
hey man, good for her.
I would say it's safe, but it's kind of fun if you just want to pretend you're 12 and angsty and want something to past. I like to call it one of the exclusive releases of the Barker Core Train, which is Travis Barker drumming on like every pop punk record in the past 7 months.
Dude, he is everywhere. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah. He's got that Kardashian superpower in him. So,
dude, he's worked.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, he's been working with so many people. I know he has like he worked with Demi Lovato, Yellow Wolf. I don't know who else has he worked with.
He did a collaboration with Willow, and she's also kind of going into the pop punk scene too.
Yeah. Didn't you say he has his own label now too?
He's got his own label, DTA Records.
Dang, see, look what Kris Jenner will do for you. That's amazing.
Everybody needs a momager.
Yeah, dude. Hey, Chris, if you want to like glow up our podcast, let us know. I'll take the assistance, please.
Mommy Chris.
That'd be awesome. Mama Chris. Yeah, guys. What else? Oh, we wanted to talk about some shows that are coming up for April or March. Jeez, what month am I in? For the month of March, do you guys have anything you're looking forward to? I know that we talked about some of the shows that we think are going to be interesting.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is probably
definitely
the biggest one.
So
Josh got me on that train.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Order of Khonshu.
Some of the other shows that I'm interested in, I don't know if you guys watched Picard Season 1.
Negative.
It was okay. It was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad, but you can see how they're trying to transition like the old school Star Trek into like a new school vibe. And I think I'm here for it. I think it has potential to spin off a better Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery, which I'm not a big fan of, but I thought this was better.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things. And as a kid, I liked Star Trek. So one of these days I'll give it a shot.
I always hated Star Trek, and I only jumped on board when they relaunched it in like 2009 or somewhere around then and ruined Star Trek for hardcore fans. I only liked it at that point.
Well, I would say give Picard a shot. It's not the greatest thing you'll ever watch, but it's also not bad. It's fine. It's just fine. Hopefully they build on what they made with the new lore they kind of built in season 1 and hopefully they make something better. So we'll see. Also, we have a new show, The Boys presents Diabolical, which is a cartoon spin-off of The Boys,
I've
which is
always
actually
wanted
kind
to
of
check
cool.
out The Boys.
The Boys is excellent. Please watch it if you have not watched it.
Is this like a continuation of The Boys, or is this like its own spin-off series?
It's a spin-off. Same universe. I'm not going to give away kind of the premise because it does spoil some context for, I guess, the end of season 1 if you haven't watched it. But I will just say same premise, same universe. It's just it's more. It takes more of like the vibe of like a Justice League meets I don't know, any other adult animated cartoon show.
It sounds fun to me.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be cool. There's also sorry, what were you gonna say?
One thing, I didn't really look at like much shows releasing next month that I was super excited with. But I know I believe March 4th is when it releases, but I am actually very excited for the new Batman movie.
The Bat.
Oh yes.
That's been the number one thing I've
I think that's gonna be sneaky good. Also found out that who plays Batman in this Batman movie? I can never remember. Robert Pattinson.
It's Robert Pattinson.
Yes, Robert Pattinson is a big Final Fantasy VII fan, which is awesome. I guess he's like a big nerd for Final Fantasy games. So
nice.
If you didn't know that, now you know. He's one of us, guys. He's one of us.
Podcast. We should get him on.
Get him on, yeah.
That would be actually really cool if he wants to.
Text him?
I'll hit him up.
Thank you, please. Also, there is a show on HBO called Winning Time, almost like a comedy satire depiction of the rise of the Lakers and basically the NBA. But it's got John C. Reilly playing Mr. Bus, which is awesome. I think it's gonna be really funny. They got all like the workings to make that show interesting. We also have Halo premiering, which we're all interested in. Atlanta season 3 finally, is coming back. Thank God. Been waiting for Atlanta forever.
Oh yeah,
love that
I keep
show.
Forgetting, like, I feel like it just went totally like dropped surprise. It's been like 4 years.
Oh my gosh,
I loved Atlanta season 1 and 2.
Such a good show, excellent show. Love it so much.
Have either of you seen Atlanta?
I've never seen it.
You have to watch it.
This is the kind of person I am. I watched the first episode, loved it, and didn't watch any more of it. I do that with so many shows.
I think it's on Hulu.
I do that with so many shows.
Please watch Atlanta.
Do you want to know what else I did that with? Breaking Bad.
I did the same. I watched the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad and just gave it up. Then it was good, but I liked it.
Yeah, hate me.
Something that I love about Atlanta is no, don't say that. But something that I love about Atlanta is that I love its depiction of African Americans, of Black people, and the way that it shows Black people in a very different perspective that it feels so much more genuine than something like Sneakerella, for example. I know that's something we never talked about, but something like Sneakerella that is such like such an offensive concept of a movie. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is clearly written, or even Euphoria. Every time I watch Euphoria, I'm like, whoever wrote the Black people on this show has to be white, because no Black parent would ever act this way about their kid becoming a crack addict. So, it happens all the time. You could tell that this show is written with a lot of thought, and I love that show.
Is it written by Donald Glover?
Glover. It's co-written between Donald Glover and I cannot remember the other writers, but Donald Glover is like, he's kind of like main producer.
That's amazing. I couldn't remember if he was a writer or a director of it.
No one human should be that talented. Just letting you guys know.
No, he has a disgusting amount of talent.
I don't know who he absorbed at birth, but like no one person should be this talented. Anyways, and then finally we have Bridgerton season 2. I don't know if you guys know, I'm a big Downton Abbey fan. If you guys aren't watching The Gilded Age, that's an excellent show written by the same guy who wrote Downton Abbey. So Bridgerton is right up my alley. I know, it's surprising.
What's The Gilded Age about?
Okay.
What's that?
Oh, The Gilded Age it's essentially American Downton. It's amazing. It's white. Period? Oh, the Gilded Age? Gilded Age, late 1800s in America. It takes place in New York. And on top of that, And on top
Do
of
they
that,
drive U-Hauls through Brooklyn in this series?
we can talk about it. Yeah, we could talk about it in another episode. But I just love, like, there's nothing I love than passive aggressive, petty, rich white people. It's a very entertaining to watch. I gotta be. Then you'll love this show because everybody gets cut down. Everybody gets cut down to pieces. It's great. It's a really good show. I'll go into it another time, but when the season's over, maybe we'll do a spotlight on it or something. But yeah, so anything else you guys ever want to talk about, or no?
No.
We're good.
Forward to.
All right, moving on. I guess I'm up to bat still. We also
batter up.
So I played Destiny, the Witch Queen. Me and my friends, we beat the main campaign.
Real quick, that's a sequel, right? Oh, you just said campaign.
That's a sequel. Yeah, it's a sequel. They do. It's really complicated, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into because I tried to get Josh to play Destiny. I think he still plays it, but it's just such a complicated game. Basically, number one, they never intended to make a sequel to Destiny. It's always just it was just meant to be this like long, sprawling game. Okay, that's number one. But when they made Destiny 1, it didn't really have a story. All the story in Destiny, and this is so insane, is built from like conversations in the game. Like there's no like up until like recently, there wasn't like a coherent set of cutscenes that you could watch that would build a story. It is probably the most like insane way to do storytelling. I don't understand it. It is so confusing. You think it's confusing to play through? Try explaining it to other people, which I'm gonna do today. So the reason why I'm going to do this is because a lot of people can't play Destiny 1 anymore. I think those servers are offline. And then they took away the main campaign from Destiny 2. So you can't play a big chunk of it. So if you want to get into it, you might be a little lost. So I just wanted to, like, are you guys familiar with Destiny at all?
Yes, but so they're like punishing new players for like jumping in too late.
I wouldn't say punishing. I would say that if you choose to jump into Destiny to play the Witch Queen, you'll get a lot of what I'm going to explain, but the chronological order would be pretty confusing unless you sit down and listen or watch somebody explain all of this. You know what I'm saying? So it's very bizarre. Again, there's not a single train of thought in this timeline. So it takes like the community to be able to like bring that together. That's part of why people love Destiny so much.
That hurts my brain.
I know, it's really weird, but I think I did a really good job of explaining it. Yeah, I think I did a really good job of explaining it and being able to explain it in 5 minutes. So check this out. So this is actually pretty cool. So the Witch Queen, okay? The Destiny of the Witch Queen, it is about literally this god who they dubbed the Witch Queen, right? But to understand how we get here, we got to start at the beginning, right? So Destiny is basically this big story about light and dark, right? With me so far? Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, so
good
far.
Versus bad, right? So one day, have you guys seen like Odyssey, Space Odyssey, or 2000: A Space Odyssey, like the old Stanley Kubrick movie? Okay,
I know of it.
Infamous scene in that movie is when the apes find the monolith, and then all of a sudden it like ushered in like a new like era of mankind. It's a really iconic scene. The apes are like jumping around, and then they learn how to use like technology. It's a cool scene. So same type of thing happens in Destiny. And the reason why this is also kind of cool is because like Elon's trying to send us to Mars. So if this actually does happen in real life, it'd be pretty scary. But basically, we get to Mars and we find this giant like moon, this white moon thing, and it starts talking to us, and it gives us knowledge on how to like expand mankind. So we take that knowledge back to Earth, and it starts what they call the Golden Age. We basically learn space travel. We learn
from the moon.
I don't know. Yeah, from this moon thing.
And the moon, Destiny or Space Odyssey 2000.
No, we're off Space Odyssey. We're off
Destiny now.
We're back in Destiny land right
Destiny,
now. I was just using it as a I guess base reference if you've seen that movie, because it'll make a little bit more sense. But basically, this moon that we dubbed the Traveler, right? It gives us like knowledge, and so we use that knowledge. We build mankind. We build a crazy big civilization, right? And out of that civilization, we build like robots They're called exos. These robots, they are able to, they're like humans, but they're just robots. Then we also build this like nanotechnology, and it's like really, really, really dangerous, but it's cool because we send the nanotechnology to other planets. It terraforms the planets. You with me so far? That's like the base level. That's all you really need to understand. Destiny 1 is basically you play as this person called a guardian, and this
are you like badass with like a huge gun and a sword?
You're badass with a huge gun, and you find out that like you are essentially you lived a whole nother life, and you died, and the traveler revived you, and like it's like almost like an agreement that like I'm going to revive you, and in turn you protect me. So that's basically, honestly, the entire premise of Destiny 1. You protect the traveler. You fulfill your destiny by protecting the traveler.
It's
the traveler.
name.
Yeah, it's in the name, exactly. So you protect the traveler from like a bunch of these a bunch of these different alien races. Because at this time, a bunch of alien races, they're attacking Earth. You fight them off one by one. One day you fight off this specific alien race called the Hive. This dude comes and he's like, I need to kill the traveler. You stop him. You think it's all good, right? Fast forward, turns out that this alien called he's part of like something called the Hive. His father is like a Hive god. He gets pissed. He comes to Earth. He messes stuff up. He kills a lot of people. It's a bloodbath, but you know, you do your thing, you fight him, you win the day. So what this current Destiny DLC is essentially referencing is all the current events that happen after that fight, and you fight this Hive God's sister. And so playing
is the sister more powerful?
Yes, not because of strength, but she's called the Witch Queen because she's like the god of lies. So she uses like subterfuge and cunning and deceit to basically get what she wants. This is also part of Bungie's like push to make a stronger narrative. So this DLC and the last DLC were the first two to have like an actual story. Like it feels like you're playing a real video game now. Like there's stories, there's cutscenes that lead to a tangible story. This one was by far the best I think I've ever played in Destiny. The world, first of all, I need to give a big shout out to the artist that Bungie has locked up in a basement somewhere, because these people there's probably no other video game I can think of right now that has such vivid like imagery. And Josh has played a little bit of Destiny and he's seen this. Like it is pretty impressive that you can see what these people come up with in terms of like making you feel like you're in a different world. It is so impressive. And like the area that you explore in this DLC, you're never in the same area twice. Like every time you enter a new area, it feels like a completely different place. It is absolutely breathtaking sometimes. Like kind of just like the art design that they do for like the
it sounds
armor.
Like a bit like when you're reading a comic book, like looking at the
yeah
panels.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a really good description, because it feels often like that imagery that comic book artists use to kind of just bring different perspectives or bring different aspects of their comic to life. I feel like the Destiny does that on like cocaine. Like it's just visually, you can often just get lost in just looking at things.
I love seeing that like in a video game.
Especially their use of colors. Their use of colors is so cool. I mean, Destiny is not afraid to go through the palette. And so that's probably like one of the biggest things that's so impressive. I mean, on top of the music in Destiny is always incredible. But the story was really interesting. And basically, without giving too much away, what the story really wants you to understand is that everybody, good or bad, does things for their own personal reasons. And I think one of the most like revealing moments, without giving like plot points away, is that you kind of put two and two together, and you kind of realize like this traveler, right? This thing that we as humanity treat as like a god, quote unquote, it may be helping us for its own selfish reasons. You know what I'm saying? And we may just be a byproduct of its situation that it's in. And so it's really just it's really presenting you with like very more like real life moral situations that we have of like what side do you really want to stand on, because do you even understand what you're fighting for, right? I thought the DLC was great. It's about 6 or 7 hours of content, which is a lot for a DLC.
That's like
so you'll
perfect
get your
for me. I don't want to play more than like 15
You're not gonna
hours
play.
for
Yeah,
DLC.
you're not gonna like be playing this for months if you don't want to. But I highly recommend that if you wanted to get into Destiny, you wanted to jump in, I think this is a great place to jump in. There's a lot to do, and I think they've really distilled the game enough where like you don't have to really know the previous stories to enjoy this one. It will kind of seem like this is like this like a new game, like a start of a new game for you. So it's I give it 5 thumbs out of 5.
Ooh,
5 thumbs out of 5.
5 thumbs out of 5. It was really, really fun.
You're making me curious about I would like to even just sample Destiny, and I would.
It's a cool game, man. I played a little bit of it, and it's cool.
It's a great game. I will say that it is intimidating, and I think that's why more people don't play it, because what I just explained the story, if we did a spotlight for Destiny, we would have to do at least 6 or 7 spotlights. Like there are I know, but there's so much like content that you can jump into. But they built the game where it's like if you just want to jump in, collect some cool guns, shoot some things, then you could do that too. You don't have to like partake in like the deep dive stuff. So
you're getting freedom of choice.
Yeah, like what I was gonna say, as somebody who's only played it a little bit, I never played it because, like AJ said, I was very intimidated by this massive lore. And then I watched some YouTube videos. AJ explained it to me a little bit. And Destiny is great. Like if you just want to play a shooter game, it's a fun shooter. If you want to get to like Lord of the Rings, level of lore and depth, this is also the game for you.
This is also the game.
If you like sci-fi and fantasy, also the game for you. This is it's got a little something for everyone. It's cool. It's fun.
And the weirdest thing about this game, I'm surprised how many women play this game. Destiny has strangely a very large female community base. I do not know why. Out of any other game, any other like first person shooter, I don't know if any other one has like as big of like a female player base, which is really strange to me. I don't know why that is. I mean, maybe because it's quote unquote, it's not a competitive first person shooter. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Call of Duty where you're constantly fighting against other players. Just maybe that's why.
Maybe the fan base is more laid back.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it too. But it's just very interesting that all kinds of people play this game. To this day, Destiny's been out for I think almost 9 years, and it's still top 5 most played game in the world. So pretty cool. Nice. So yeah, that's my review for Destiny, guys. What else we got?
We got Batman the Imposter out of DC Comics.
This is a comic, not a show, right?
Correct. This is a comic. What's really interesting about it is on the creative team, you have the writer Mattson Tomlin, who actually worked on the upcoming Batman film.
Okay.
So he worked on the script for the Robert Pattinson Batman film that's about to come out, and he wrote this
story.
For a second,
I was like, "Are you saying his name wrong?"
Intentionally, I definitely stole that joke.
It's Robert Pattinson. Pattinson? Oh man, I'm not going to say that 5 times.
I don't know. But anyways, he worked on the upcoming Batman film, so it's really interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see like what transferred over, like what similarities there are going to be between this and the film. Artist is Andrea Sorrentino. Colorist is Jordi Belair. It's from DC Black Label, which is geared more towards a mature audience. It's usually a lot grittier and darker, like more mature themes. It's also not in the main continuity. But what's really cool about Black Label is it's put out some of the better comics, like overall, lately that I've been reading.
I don't think I've ever heard of this imprint before.
DC Black Label?
Yeah, or maybe I've noticed it, or maybe I've read stuff from it and haven't noticed.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of really great titles. They did The Other History of the DC Universe by John Ridley. That was a pretty cool one. I think we talked about it on the show at one point. They've done like some John Constantine, Swamp Thing. Black Label, if you're looking for something that's doesn't have a lot of continuity behind it, but has quality story writing, I definitely recommend checking that out. This one too, it's very dark, gritty, noir-esque, and it starts out where Batman, he arrives at the home of a Dr. Leslie Tompkins, and he's all shot up and bleeding, and right away she knows who he is. And what is interesting is the reason she knows who he is because she was his childhood psychiatrist. So she recognizes him, and back when he was a child, she diagnosed him with acute anxiety, OCD, said he was possibly on the autism spectrum, and that he also had PTSD. So right away, like, this is, to me, it was a cool thing that they're taking into account Bruce Wayne's mental health, because that's always been one of my issues with the Batman character.
They kind of ignore it usually.
He's just like, oh, I'm this dark, brooding man. It's like, no, dude, like, you were a damaged human being. So I like that right away. They're like, yeah, he's got issues. And he also went to therapy, which is great. Go to therapy. What was really interesting is also the fact that she said he was possibly on the autism spectrum. Like, I've never thought about that. But if you do think about it, if you know anything about autism and about being on the spectrum, it kind of makes sense. I don't know if, like, AJ, Kate, or Alex, like, if you have any
whatever
knowledge
my
of
name is. Josh always forgets my name.
Yeah, it's Ranger, number 3.
Ranger.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Do you guys have any, like, do you know anything about, like, the autism spectrum?
Very, very, very little. Autism is something that I have not been privy to understanding as well as I would like to. So, yeah, I know very little of it.
Same. I don't think I know enough to comment. So you should tell us what you know.
But I am curious at this because I've never thought of Batman being autistic.
So,
but
and, like,
maybe I will now.
What, like, the understanding of autism, I think, is slowly changing. I think the perception of it in the general public is very different from what you would see if you work in, like, a clinical or in a special education environment. Right. Like, it's called a spectrum now, because it's not like you are autistic or you're not. It's that you might be somewhere on the spectrum of it.
Right. And
so, like, part of the Bruce Wayne's characteristics is, like, he has, like, that OCD and, like, that inability to, like, always connect with people. Like, those are a few of the things. And, like, that savant level almost of intelligence would also, like, there's a lot of different components. They don't really dig into that a whole lot, but it was just a minor detail that I thought was really interesting. And I think it's a cool conversation.
Maybe they'll talk about that in future issues.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm only going to be talking about issue 1 because this is in trade now. And if you don't know what trade means, that means all the issues are all together in this book. It's a nice hardcover. Very beautiful. Go pick it up. Going back to the story, though, Dr. Tompkins threatens to call the police. And she's like, you're out there, being a vigilante, beating people up. You're going to get yourself killed. And Bruce Wayne says, last week was the first night. There was a night where there was no crime. And that's the first time that's happened in 54 years. And the next page, it's a splash page. So it's like a double page of art. Actually, I think it's one page of art. Big image of Batman standing on this church tower, and it's his silhouette in white, and he's overlooking the city. And then there's a panel beneath that, and you see his silhouette of his face, and you see him crying. So it's very interesting that, like, for him to see a night where there's no crime, like, it has an emotional payoff for him.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that exist in a Batman universe before, a night of no crime.
That and the fact that him realizing there was no crime, like, it makes him cry. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Batman comic. I don't think most people have.
I've never seen Batman cry. I can promise that.
Right, exactly. What are the aliens from Destiny, AJ? The bug people?
Oh, those are Hive.
The Hive? Yeah, you can count on one of their hands how many times Batman has cried.
I mean,
don't they have, like, 3 fingers? On one hand, though.
Yeah, that's true.
One hand, they have 3 fingers. They have, like, 6 arms or something. They have, like, 4 or 6 arms, but they have 3 fingers per hand.
Some of them have no fingers.
Yeah, the one guy's got a prosthetic arm.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Batman, because that's what I'm talking about. Bruce Wayne, he's like, I'm making a difference. It's not the cops. It's not the politicians. And then Dr. Tompkins, they call her Leslie. That's her first name. She gives him a piece of paper. She's like, hey, sign this. Batman's like, what? Why? And she says, if you sign this, like, you're now a patient of mine, and whatever conversation we have is now confidential. And she says to him, if you come to see me every day at dawn, we're going to talk. We're going to work together to try to help you. But if you don't do this, I'm going to call the cops and tell people who you are.
Whoa.
So it's like this. It's really cool in my opinion. She's like, hey, you can either do therapy with me, and we're going to help you, or I'm going to tell everybody who you are.
Isn't that illegal as a therapist?
I think isn't there some leeway if your patient is breaking the law?
If you're hurting someone or someone is hurting you, I think therapists are required by law to report it. So
report it, yeah. So I think that's why.
I always think of like Tony Soprano. Like anytime he's about to say something where he's potentially talking about killing someone, his therapist is like, "You better be careful about what you're about to tell me because I will have to report it."
I'm shocked that the therapist wants to meet at dawn. Does this lady not like to sleep?
Well, it's because when does Batman operate though?
Nighttime, I guess. But
I just envision him coming. I know. I envision him coming into the therapist's office covered in blood and being like,
"So with an Americano in hand."
Yeah. He's like, "Let me tell you what the Joker did today." Like, wow, what kind of conversations is this? Like, crazy.
But yeah, I mean, like he works at night, and so if he comes at dawn, that means he's alive. Like he survived fighting crime for the night. But again, I think the take on Batman is a human being who has a lot of trauma that he needs to work through. Love that take. I keep saying I'm a huge Batman fan, but I'm tired of the man child that Batman tends to be. This adds a lot more nuance to it.
I like the idea of mental health mixed with superheroes. You know, because everybody's living through something, even superheroes.
Especially Batman.
And needs someone to talk about it with.
Exactly. I think I enjoy, I know a lot of people might not enjoy this, but I do enjoy it when you have a little bit of reality injected into what you're reading. At least for me, it helps me to connect to it. It resonates more.
Same here. It helps me be able to like take the scenarios that are happening in the story and be able to apply it to my own life. And like I don't know, I feel like there are certain stories, comics, movies, whatever, that you grow from. And if there's nothing that you can relate to at all with the character, I think that's really frustrating. And I find that really boring.
Like, even though something might be like not believable or unreal, like in the real world that we're living in right now, like to have believable aspects, that definitely reels me in.
Right. And like for me, a lot of DC stuff, especially Batman, it does have that grounded in reality feel. I mean, obviously, like there's stuff that's not realistic whatsoever. But I do appreciate from time to time when someone creates a story where it does feel more grounded. So that's how the issue starts off. And then there's a scene change and we meet a woman named Detective Wong. She works for the GCPD. And she gets called into the precinct for a new case. And there's been a video that the police have received that shows allegedly Batman with 3 men on their knees on a rooftop with hoods over their head. And he pushes all 3 of them off of the rooftop. So essentially, there's a video of Batman killing 3 people.
Yeah, I was going to say, they definitely sound like they're dead here.
They are dead.
Basically dead.
They are very dead. And so there's a task force that's being assembled because Batman is now wanted for murder, as seen on this videotape. And Wong and the readers are obviously very suspicious of this. And part of her theory is she wonders if the rich elite of Gotham have orchestrated this because Batman is beginning to interfere with their economics, with the way their money works. Because when you have that much money in that kind of a city, you probably did not earn it, honestly. So she's a bit skeptical. And yeah, the Gotham City now thinks Batman is a killer. Issue comes to a close with Bruce going back to Dr. Tompkins. And there's a few panels where it's dawn. Bruce hasn't shown up. She's about to call the police, and she's very conflicted. She's like, I don't want to do this. And she like has 911 dialed on her phone. She's about to push it, and then he shows up. and he's like, "Hey,"
Hey,
she
he
asks him,
couldn't
"Did
send
you
a text.
Wait, what?
He couldn't send a text. He couldn't be like, running late.
Be
Like,
right
dude.
there."
Or at
No.
least have like
Wow.
a set time of like, okay, if you're not here by 5:15, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
let
calling
me be late. What if I'm like balls deep in crime right now? Like, you don't know what I'm doing.
or
I don't
balls
know.
deep in traffic. Like,
Or balls deep in other things.
Whoa.
That's true.
You know, like cooking.
Batman gets. Oh
Like
yeah,
stir,
that's true.
like
That's
stir
true.
fry.
That's true.
Well, I don't know what
Actually-
you guys were thinking.
There's this joke on certain corners of social media that Batman doesn't have sex, but that's a conversation for another time. It's
I'm
pretty.
pretty
It's
sure I've
actually
read
pretty
some
funny.
issues where Batman and Catwoman are definitely
No,
hanging out.
we don't like. I could do like a whole 20-minute dive into that. It's pretty funny. But anyways, she's about to call the cops. Batman shows up. She's like, "Did you kill those people?" And his reaction is like, "Do you really think I would?" And he lets her know, like, there's an imposter in Gotham who is trying to ruin my name and ruin everything I've been trying to do. And that's how the issue ends.
Wow.
I think it sounds like a good trade. I would definitely check it out.
Yeah, I highly recommend picking this up. It's all collected there for you in a nice little hardcover. It was written by the guy who worked on the new movie. So I think I have high hopes for the movie too now because of this.
I just wanted to throw in that there's probably already some run that already exists with a similar plot line. But you brought up an interesting point with like, maybe it's these other billionaires in Gotham who are kind of ganging up on Batman and using their resources to stop him. I always thought, like, how is it possible that Batman or Bruce Wayne can exist as Batman and no other rich person would ever find out? I mean, rich people have a lot of resources, and somebody would find out that Batman is Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne's got better resources.
I think it would be pretty cool for Batman to have a Lex Luthor like villain that he cannot fight as Batman, that he needs to always have to confront as Bruce Wayne. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think
really fun.
that would be his real kryptonite, right?
Yeah.
Not being in a position where he cannot solve the problem with his money or fists. He now has to do the thing he probably hates the most and use some type of political savvy to stop his villain. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I was gonna say it would be funny if he had like a neighbor next door who was like the most asshole neighbor ever. Like
his Dinkelberg.
Yeah, he needs like the neighbor from hell that literally like nothing he can do.
I could just imagine it's like some guy wearing like New Balance shoes and ankle high like white socks, and he's just mowing his lawn. He's like, "Hey, Bruce, had a pretty late night last night, huh?" Then we talked about it. He's like, "I saw the Batmobile pull up. Like, this guy's got to die. This guy's got to die."
Batman versus the HOA. Like,
even better.
The really nosy HOA president. See, we need to get with some comic book writers.
We're like, we noticed your gnome, your lawn gnome was 2 feet to the left. It's supposed to be this way. You're getting a $200 fee tomorrow.
It's like, hey Bruce, did we approve a cave underneath your mansion? I don't remember. Do you have permits for this? Where are the permits? We need to know.
Nobody knows about the cave except the HOA.
All right, I want to see this now.
Me too.
See, it's interesting.
But I'll give this series, this trade, 2 bat thumbs up. And like I said, it gives me, in addition, like the Batman film that's coming out looks great, but the fact that Tomlin worked on this also gets me even more excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We need to fix our rating system. This thumb thing makes no sense.
I was gonna say 2 bat thumbs
100%.
out of how many bat thumbs total?
Yeah. What's the?
I think bats have 2 thumbs, right? I'm making this up, but they have 2 thumbs and they're both up. We'll change our rating system like once somebody tells us what to change it to.
Somebody tell us. Fans suggest us. How should we rate?
Otherwise, we're gonna make stuff up every time.
Help us.
Are we going 2 out of 2? 2 bat thumbs out of 2 bat thumbs?
Two bat thumbs. Both those wings are going up, man.
All right. Sounds good.
Moving on to going on to Amazon, our favorite company, Amazon Prime Video. We have the marvelous Miss Maisel.
was gonna say what you say about Amazon Prime, but Marvelous Miss Maisel, I have only mainly great things to say about that show.
It's A1. If you are unfamiliar with the show, please watch it. It is fantastic. I have binged most of the series in a ridiculously short amount of time because of how
Josh,
good
tell
it
us
is.
how ridiculously short. I know it's been very recent for you.
I watched about 2 seasons worth of content within a few days.
Wow, and I think it's about 8 to 10 episodes
I think
a
it's like 8
season.
episodes for season 1 and 2. I think 10, and then season 3 had 8. Season 4 just came out. So if you're late to the game, we'll give you a quick little recap and then let you know at which point we're going to be talking about the current episodes. That way you can dip out for a few minutes. The Marvelous Miss Maisel is about a woman who lives in upstate New York.
Not upstate
she lives
New
in
York.
Upper
downtown.
East Side.
Upper East
That's all
Side.
right. I knew
You had
you were
upper
about
in
to
there
say that.
somewhere.
Upper something.
I blinked. I was like upper state upstairs.
Up north.
Yeah, a lady in
Up
Niagara
there.
Falls.
Anyways, she lives in a bougie area of New York. She is wealthy. She comes from a wealthy Jewish family. She has the perfect life. 2 kids. Husband works for some business selling. He doesn't even know what he does. And that all comes crashing to a halt when he leaves her and she finds herself pursuing a career in stand-up comedy. That is the premise of the show. That's
in
all
the
I'm going to tell you.
1950s, right?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
it's in 1958, I believe. So, a woman living that kind of lifestyle, having her husband leave her, is pretty significant. And then the scandal for pursuing stand-up comedy is also very significant. The
And
writing is A1. I cannot say enough how good this is. And
these writers are the same from Gilmore Girls, which is
Gilmore Girls, there's the reference.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
still on the Gilmore train, is what we're
Josh
trying
has
to
not
trying to
watched
hit.
Gilmore Girls, though. That's the
You know what,
problem.
though? After watching this show, I really want to watch Gilmore Girls.
Gosh, I
now.
was the same. I grew up watching a couple Gilmore Girls episodes because my mom always had it on. But the second I finished season 2 of Miss Maisel, I right away went and checked out a few episodes because I was like, if the writing of this show is this amazing, like this other show, Gilmore Girls, has to have something that I will be attracted to.
Yeah.
I think I think this show might have the best writing I've seen in a TV show.
It's
I know that's a
immaculate.
strong claim, but
The
it's
consistency,
up there. Can anyone name many examples to like counter
I
that?
mean, Better Call Saul, I think, does something that's so similar where it takes a character you wouldn't think could be interesting or a situation that you wouldn't think would be interesting and it makes it interesting.
That is perfect for the show, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's along the same lines of just writing and that level
Yeah.
of writing. So
No, I can see that because like the premise, I mean, this show really could have just been like a mini series of a girl like doing comedy, but it's just like the timing of the punchlines. Like I feel like that's like such a hard thing. It's like a director and a writer could be a fan of comedy, but it's like to bring their own unique approach to a character that is made up from scratch. I mean, I'm sure they pulled their influences from a lot of like real life comedians, but I feel like that would just be such a difficult thing to do. It's like comedy's hard enough to land, and like to have it in a comedy show on a fake person, and just like I can't imagine how many times they had to like sit around the writing table and like rewrite lines.
Right.
And it's so compelling. I typically hate any TV show or movie that's about rich people. It's like I don't care about you. I don't care about your problems. Boo-hoo. But I'm so invested in all these characters.
Yeah.
It's a
See,
tribute.
it
It's a testament to the writing.
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective as well. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about Gilmore Girls. And I mean, I even brought this up. You guys are talking about what's a show that has competent writing. I would also put Julian Fellows, who writes both Downton Abbey and The Gilded Age. It's like you wouldn't think you would care about rich people, but the way it's written, you forget what you're watching. And I think that Marvelous Miss Maisel does that so well. I mean, Amy Sherman Palladino does that so well, where she's pulling from real situations and making compelling, like dialogue, really compelling dialogue. You know,
And she has that signature trademark of making everybody be extremely
Out of
quippy,
breath.
super
Yes.
like
Yes.
fast-paced, quippy, lots of references, very like comedic banter, back and forth style.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
thing I love, like on top of that, is this show has so much happening in the background. There are constantly like hundreds of extras on the screen where it's like these scenes, I feel like they could have easily been like, let's have 5 people walking in the background just to show like, oh, this is like a day in life in New
Real.
York. But no, they will have hundreds of people. They have their own unique mannerisms. They have their own dialogues going on, which is such a I just feel like it was such like a big reason why I was like enamored into the show, is like I just wanted to visualize like every scene and just like breathe it in and absorb it. And I think that's like one of the big reasons why this new season took so long, is like, imagine COVID delays on a TV show where you have 10 people on screen. Now imagine a TV show where you have up to 100 people sometimes on
And
screen.
being filmed in New York City and having to have all the iconic New York City like landscapes and backgrounds, and it's and then also being a city that's famous for having an abundance of people at all times in every shot.
Right. I think that's something that she does so well. I think the difference between Gilmore Girls and Marvelous Miss Maisel is basically that in Gilmore Girls, she brings that same life, but in a small town feel. And here in Marvelous Miss Maisel, she brings that life to big town feel. Like you're definitely not sitting there going, where are they? Like, they are in New York, right? Like every
shot feels like
every
New York
shot
City.
feels like New York. Exactly. Well, except when they're in Paris, then that's Paris. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Spoiler
Yeah.
for the Paris scene. No, I like
Yeah.
the idea of just giving no context to when any characters in Paris.
Amy Sherman Palladino has a thing for Paris. Okay, just so you guys know, like I think she may have lived there or something. I feel like she did.
She's
Everything.
a Francophile.
Yeah,
I don't know. She loves Paris. Gilmore Girls has very big Paris plot lines too. So
yeah. There's definitely
and a
lot
very
of
big
Paris.
character named Paris. So
okay, I forgot about that. Yes, exactly.
That's
She
true.
loves Paris. So and Paris is the best character in Gilmore Girls. So I'm not surprised about that.
So Josh and Alex, what are your first thoughts so far on the return of season 4? And
So I was a little late jumping into the show. I started watching it around late 2020. So I still had about a year to wait for this new season. I think the way season 3 ended, I had some like pretty big annoyances with Midge, even though I still love her character. And I feel like the beginning of this season, it's just like Midge times 1,000. Her character, she's an ENFP, so it's like she is bubbly, she's friendly, she's outgoing, she loves being on the good side of everyone. But I think there's just been so much breakdowns with her character that like you're now starting to see like, oh, Midge, maybe she's friendly, but a lot of these times she's just like being friendly to get what she wants. And I think because of this, I think something really, really big is going to happen where Midge like hardcore crashes and burns, and I think she's going to like hopefully like be aware of like the situations that she's put herself into. I feel like she plays the victim in a lot of situations, and I want to see her admit like mistakes, because I don't think she does that. And I think one of the big reasons she does this is just like she's so obsessed with being the best comedian now that she doesn't have any time to focus on any other aspects of her life. She like ignores her kid. She basically ignores her parents. Joel kind of feels like an afterthought. It's so weird. Like Joel is her ex-husband. I've always hated him, and I feel like I'm actually low-key kind of cheerleading for him this season. I'm curious who you're cheering for, Josh.
I actually, even back in season 1, I hated his guts. But as the season progressed, I was like, I see the redemption arc that they're going for with him. Everybody in the show is like severely flawed, and it feels real, especially Joe. Joe is so flawed, but at the same time, you're
Joel.
like, Joel. Isn't that what?
Yeah.
Did I say Joe or Joel?
I said Joe.
Oh, Joel. I don't know if
It's
there is a
okay.
Joe in the show. Anyways, he is such a flawed character, but I do find myself rooting for him. And like the whole, they keep teasing like, are they going to get back together? Like it feels like they are, and then they both do stuff that makes it seem like they're not. That's one part of the story. I don't know about you guys, where that for me that really resonates. Like my parents are divorced, so I was like, this hits home so hard because
same here.
that is every kid who is a product of a divorce. Like that is every kid's dream for their parents to get back together.
Mhm.
And like I've talked to my therapist about this. Like divorce is so common that people downplay it, but the effects of it, like, you are so underestimated. And
Yeah.
so, people are like, oh, but it's the best for the kids. No, the best thing for the kids is for you to get your act together, make it work, and at least pretend you're happy. So put that on your plate.
Yeah. I do want to, you guys brought up really good points. I do just want to throw some things in there. Amy Sherman Palladino does not do character resolution. I think that's the nicest way to put it. So this moment of catharsism that you're looking for Midge to have, I just don't think it's gonna happen, man. I think it's telegraphed. What's up?
I would say I was going to continue off of that.
Oh, well, I was going to say the only reason why I say that, just to put just some thought into that, is that I see so many of the same like plot points that in Marvelous Miss Maisel presented in a very different way than Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls, Lorelai has to choose between her two loves, right? Luke, her future potential, and Christopher, her past. That's like one of like the most like, I guess you could say like grounding themes throughout the show, right? And so I think Marvelous Maisel is doing the same thing with Midge's love for comedy, or her love for Joel and her family, and and I think that's really telegraphed in the episode with the artist, when the artist tells her that if you want to be great at something, then you have to give up everything else. And I think that's the pendulum that she has to learn which side of the pendulum she wants to be on. Does she want to be the greatest comedian who ever lived, or does she want to be Miriam Maisel, the housewife, the mother, the good daughter, right? I think that's the duality that you're seeing, the scales that she's forced to balance. And I think that you'll see those other. It makes sense that you're seeing those other characters become less in her mind or in the show, because that's less in her mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which leads me into like the other thought I have with how I think the season could go is if Midge, which she already basically has done, is give up on parenting and the family side of her life and continues to pursue comedy, I think there's going to be a dark side that Midge is going to experience that we aren't seeing yet. They've kind of hinted at Lenny Bruce kind of maybe getting back into the picture of the season.
Which, by the way, Lenny Bruce is a fellow comedian who's kind of a little bit more grim, I guess, than Midge. She stays pretty cheery, and he can be a little more pessimistic.
He's the dark side.
He's also a very attractive man, played by Luke Kirby.
Yeah, he's an attractive man.
I say this as a heterosexual man. Luke Kirby, as Lenny Bruce, is very attractive.
He's also very good.
Attractive and suave.
He's suave, but he also is a substance user.
So, because of that, because of his substance use, I think Midge is going to experience the dark side of entertainment and is going to be around a lot of hard drugs. I personally think Lenny Bruce is going to overdose with Midge there in the season, and I think that's going to cause a something to happen.
I feel like it's a big prediction.
I know it's a huge prediction, but that's what I can see
I agree with that, though. I can agree with that, because I think what you're supposed to see is that Susie is her, like, if it's like the age old imagery of like the devil and angel on your shoulder. As funny as this is, the here, I think Susie is the angel, right? The one that's supposed to keep her on
the crazy angel.
Right path. And I think Lenny is like that devil, that one that's. I mean, Lenny told her from the jump, before she even contemplated doing this. He's like, this isn't a glamorous lifestyle, and I'm not a glamorous person. He tells her that from the jump. So
he actually has.
Oh, I was going to say, and in real life, many real comedians suffer with substance abuse, depression, suicide. They're the funniest people in the world, and then they're the saddest people in the world.
How many comedians commit suicide, right?
Yeah, no.
Sadly, yeah.
And like you were saying, like Midge hasn't encountered that dark side of the entertainment industry really. In the start of this season, you start to see that's a possibility because she's working at a strip club now. Like she's getting into like the seedier side of entertainment. And yeah, like I do wonder, like, is it going to start going towards that direction? I kind of hope not. One thing I've always liked about the show is like, despite how many terrible things happen, like there's still like this fun and whimsical cheeriness to it. And, sometimes it's just nice to have a little bit of that.
Yeah, mainly with Joel's mom, Susie, right?
Oh, Shirley.
Or Shirley, sorry. I think
Yeah.
Shirley brings all the humor back into the show.
I mean, everyone makes me laugh in the show, though. Like, even like the stuff that Susie does, she cracks me up. Everybody on the show is hilarious.
By the way, Daniela pointed something out to me. The dad, Abe. Do you know what he's from? By the way,
Monk.
Beyond Monk though. Before Monk.
Before Monk.
Before I don't, he was in Men in Black.
I don't even know him before Monk.
Spy Kids.
Oh,
who was he in Spy Kids?
He was the
Spy Kids and Monk.
Was he one of the Floops Fluglies?
No, I think he was one of the villains, actually.
I think he's a villain actor.
I remember that now that you're saying that.
Yeah, he was in Spy Kids. I was like, holy cow, that's where he's from. I was like, and it's so bizarre. So yes, I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought that was funny.
He's also, apparently Tony Shalhoub was also in Men in Black and Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, he plays an alien in Men in Black.
Wow.
He gets his head blown off.
I knew about that one, but yeah,
I forgot about that. Everyone's trying to take me out of Miss Maisel, and now I'm going to think of him in Men in Black.
Well, going back to Lenny Bruce, we're talking about the darkness within him and the impact he might have on the show. He has one of my favorite lines in the whole show, and I don't know it verbatim, but he says something to the effect of how comedy is terrible. Like it's something that should not exist, like cancer or God. And like that, his whole monologue about how he loves comedy, but it's awful. And he ends it with that, like, it should not exist, like cancer or God.
Well, that's what I meant. He warned her. He warned her that like, and it's fitting that he used those two, I guess you could say, extremes of cancer, because depending on the way you look at it, both of those things kill you, right? So, or either kill you or kill people around you. Like I said, depending on your perspective and what you believe in. So, I think that's where his perspective was, and I think you're seeing that now become manifesting in her life. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to get as dark as you guys think, but I do think that there's going to be that temptation. Something that Amy Sherman's really. Oh, so we're going to say, Kate?
Also, I agree with you. I think that they're good at doing that on the show, of balancing the happy moments and the fun moments. They have perfect comedic timing. And they have good comedic relief, but I think the show's getting better at showing you the bad parts of life,
bad stuff. Because it's not even that it's bad. It's just it is like you guys said before. It is the realistic perspective, and
I'm excited to finish this season. I've been waiting a long time. I think we should, at the end of the season, all discuss the ending and see how far off I was from guessing it. From close to it.
I agree. And I do hope it doesn't go too realistic. Like, if I want to see something depressing and really real, I'll watch Euphoria or whatever.
Yeah!
I want something that dabbles in reality, but also just makes me laugh and forget.
I'm the same.
Crazy the world
it's just
is.
My crazy prediction, but let's hope I'm wrong.
Can I before we end today?
Yeah.
Can I just give a crazy prediction for Euphoria?
Sure.
Go for it.
Just to throw it out there.
I don't know anything about the show.
I think Rue is dead, and I think the entire show is being told posthumously.
AJ, I haven't ever even thought of that, but you just saying that.
When you watch the show, it'll make a lot of sense with each episode that you watch, because I think she's already dead.
Who's Rue?
Just
gonna throw that from the Hunger Games?
Josh, we have no time for questions. Only time for you to watch it. That's it.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 episodes. I could see it.
Why is a girl from the Hunger Games in Euphoria?
AJ, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that prediction, because I don't want it to be true.
I think she's dead. The reason why I say that, Kate, is because she has incredible insight on everyone's lives and situations that she would have no insight on.
I know. So, she's very omnipresent when she talks, so I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so just gonna throw that
I'm not
out
gonna
there.
think about it. I'm gonna hope you're wrong. I'm gonna hope you're wrong, but I think you might be right.
If it happens, HBO hire AJ.
Please come after me. I'll do magic for you. Watch.
Yeah, hire
All
AJ.
right.
Hire AJ.
All right, Alex, how many thumbs are we giving Midge Maisel?
How many human thumbs, right?
I'm gonna give for season 4 for how it's starting so far. Out of 2 thumbs, I'm gonna give it 1 thumb.
Oh,
I'll fight you.
Wow.
I'll fight you.
The thumb's fully extended. It's one fully
Okay.
extended thumb.
One
It's
full.
reaching to be a second thumb.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. And that's it for our show. If you liked what you heard, subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of our content. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, drop us a comment and or rating to tell us what you thought. Most of you are on Spotify and probably not Apple. So those downloads, reviews, and ratings really mean the world to us. It's what's helping our show grow. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, basically any social media at the Bandwagon Fan Pod, and on Facebook and YouTube at the Bandwagon Fan. I think we have a Discord. We haven't really used it yet, but
We have one,
this is
We have a Discord.
motivating us to use Discord a little more.
It's
You
really
can
hard to
find
find
episodes.
people.
Yeah, it's hard to find people. You can find episodes wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
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 Bandwagon is hosted by Josh Jimenez, Alex Melgosa, and me, AJ Soy. Our show is produced by Kate Smith and edited by yours truly. Our theme song is Lush Waves by Taylor Lewin of _audio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.